Hello everyone, it's Susan here. Welcome to my channel. So we are we are going to work in the fifth journal that I said I would get finished by the end of this summer. I started it years ago, a couple years ago, 3 years ago, July 30th of 2021. This book or this journal is all about Psalms, the book of Psalms, and there's a lot of white space. Like I went back to look at the pages so that I can kind of do, get the same feel throughout the whole journal as I did on these previous pages. And yeah, so I'm continuing on with Psalms, and what I typed up was a few verses from the second Psalm, verses 7 through 9. The king proclaims the Lord's decree. The Lord said to me, "You are my son. Today I have become your father. Only ask and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession." So at church, we have been studying the book of Psalms. It's this right here. And we've been going through this for months now. So these are my notes for Psalm 2. And I like to really study things out, and so I end up writing all kinds of stuff down. But I always like to try to find Jesus in Psalms. Jesus is throughout the whole book. You can find Jesus in Genesis, right? There's always some sort of a redemptive story in any of the books in the Bible. And so this particular psalm, the reason I chose those verses is because, so again, it reads, "The king proclaims the Lord's decree. The Lord said to me, 'You are my son. Today I have become your father.'" Right? So in Luke 1, verses 31 to 35, it talks about the Messiah will be the Son of God. And it says here, "You are my son. I will become your father." So this is Psalm. So that's a prophetic word, right? So I don't, if you're not super familiar with the Bible, scripture confirms scripture. So, or you can look at it that way, or that, there's prophecy. So in the Old Testament, the prophets prophesied, or the kings, or right, judges, whatever, and those things became true, right? So this is true of Jesus, right? He is the Son of God. So, and then it says, "Only ask and I will give you the nations as your inheritance, the whole earth as your possession." So this is the Messiah, who is Jesus, rule over the nation. So that was also prophesied. That's a prophecy, I should say. Right, and we know that throughout the Old Testament, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right, God promised them that they would have the inheritance of the promised land, right? Things got really messed up once they got it, but but anyways, God kept his promise. But anyway, so that's why I like those particular verses that I have on here today. Okay, enough of the little Bible study there. Let's kind of get into what I'm going to do on this spread right here. So at this point, I'm going to speed up the video a little bit and do a voiceover. So my thought process with this spread was to use these strips of leftover papers from my stash, and I want to put them down, I would say uneven onto this page. And I'm not going to cover up the whole thing because I want to be able to have some white space like on most of the previous pages. Right there I was trying to decide, well, do I want that like deckled edge to show or not? And I decided I did want it to show. And yeah, and some of these strips are perfectly straight. Some like this one right there is just all torn. And most of the colors are very neutral. I do pull in a little bit of like a turquoise color that you can see right there, but not much of it. I wanted it to, have that neutral feel to it like the rest of the journal does. And yeah, so, and you can see some sun starting to peep through there, which I'm not complaining about, trust me. But yeah, so I will take care of that in a minute or so here. And this, I think, is a piece of a bag, a paper bag. And there's a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of black something on there. And it was a good piece to put there because it was wide enough that it would go over the spine of the journal. Yeah, to kind of make the two pages into one spread, keeping them cohesive looking. And yeah, and this, I'm like, oh, which side do I like better? So I ended up using the side, yeah, that I didn't think I was going to use, but I wanted to pull in just a little bit more of that turquoise color, so that's why I went with that side of that paper. And I'm just going to start piecing the pieces together. So I had a ball doing this. It was a lot of fun. And almost like a puzzle, just trying to fit the pieces. I wanted it to be a little wonky looking. So, that was my goal. I didn't want the strips to be perfect. I didn't want them to be the same in shape or color or length. And I think it ended up working out pretty well. And I mean, look at all of this paper that I had in my stash that is now on this spread. And doesn't that make you feel good, right? So I was really happy to do this style of page. I did a page like this in my last journal as well, and I loved it so much. I knew I was going to do it in this journal, and I just may do it again because I don't know, why not? And again, please bear with me with that sun. In a minute, I take care of it. So yeah, I'll take care of it in a minute. So at this point, I am going to try to figure out the composition of, what I have and, trying to figure out where I'm going to put it, what I'm going to use, what I'm not going to use. And I decided to cut down this tag. I don't know where I got the tag from, but it was definitely either coffee dyed or tea dyed at some point. And it's actually like a 2-layer tag. It's awesome. I love it. Don't know where I got it from, but it was in my stash. And the typewriter that I used is We Are Memory Keepers. It's pink. Of course it's pink. Why wouldn't it be pink? But I ended up putting this, I think it's a stamped image of a key. It's either stamped or a stencil. And I thought that would be perfect because like it kind of represents like a key to Jesus, right? It's unlocking a piece to the puzzle, so to speak. So I liked having that there, but all of this other stuff, it was just too much. Like in working in the other journals I'm completing, I want to keep it as simple as possible. I want it to look good and I want it to have interest, but I don't need a million things on every spread, right? So I did notice that I did have a piece of burlap or canvas on another page. So I figured, well, I definitely would like to add this burlap. It was on my desk. I had it out to use in this journal. It's the right color. It's like perfect for this page. And so I thought, you know what? Well, I'm going to add it over here to the side. It almost, it gives the feel of adding another vertical piece of something, right? And in this case, it's a piece of burlap. And yep, so now we're just going to go ahead and glue down the verses. And since it is, like I said before, like two pieces of paper put together, that tag, you can see, like I don't know what it used to be, but anyway, so I'm just going to go around and make sure that everything is adhered down. And you can see up in the upper left, under the journal, see the washi tapes sitting there? I had a bunch of washi tape strips that I went through and I pulled those out. I would like to use all of those eventually in this journal. So I pulled out those two there and I'm liking the way that looks. So it's good to get a little bit of horizontal on a page as well, so it's not all vertical. And I thought adding a little bit more black would be good. So I'm going to put a piece of this down here. Some of this washi, I can't believe it still works. I've had for probably over 10 years. Well, I don't know, 10 years, 8 years, I don't know, a long time. But I like the way that looked. I think that really helped to bring the page together. And now the final thing I'm going to do on here to bring it together even more, when I say bring it together, I just mean the whole spread, the 2 pages, just it kind of makes it all work together. So I'm going to use my archival ink in black and this stamp that I forgot I had, and I found it as I was cleaning out stuff, and it used to be a stamp I used all the time, so now it resides on my desk. And that's it. So I'm going to lift it up and show it to you. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions about the verses, and we will continue on. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope that you have a wonderfully blessed week. And here's a picture to finish out the video. Bye-bye, everybody.